So the image that came to me with this message was of this cave where you could see a small, crack in the cave where light was filtering through. And in that crack, there was, plants, little green things just cropping up, sprouting, growing in that light, despite the fact that, they're technically underground in this cave. And what they told me was that this has to do with someone who's been, I think, cultivating some very lovely things in a less than ideal environment. So if that sounds like you, then feel free to stick around because Spirit may have a message for you. So we've got the Seven of Pentacles, the Three of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Ten of Cups, Four of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. So I think, with this Seven of Pentacles here, I think, this is someone who spent a lot of time, waiting, and maybe, waiting for a circumstance that felt ideal. But it was almost in the midst of all of this waiting, all of this, sitting here and, wondering when it gets better, you were still not stagnant. Because we've got both the Three of Cups and the Two of Cups. And I see, this being a person who did a lot of work to cultivate, especially, relationships with other people, other energies, and relationships of a lot of different kinds. Not just romantic relationships, but also friendship, also community. And I think that you knew that this wasn't ideal. You knew that this was, you're still kind of waiting with the Seven of Pentacles over the Ten of Cups. You're still waiting on some level for the happily ever after. But I think that you found these other ways to celebrate. You found these other people to celebrate with, because we've also got the Four of Wands coming out here. And I think Spirit also celebrates that and also celebrates you for the way that you have cultivated that, in spite of everything. And I think that this Ace of Swords under the Two of Cups is kind of interesting. Because I do feel that Three of Cups, Four of Wands is a little bit self-explanatory. But I am kind of getting that there's something else, particularly in regards to partnership, committed relationships, that is becoming apparent or will soon become apparent. So I'd like a few more cards on what's going on there. We got the Devil. The Devil, the Emperor, the Seven of Wands, and Justice. So I think that you may have been in a relationship with someone or some kind of dynamic, not just a, wanting to have dynamic, but either there was some sort of actual connection here, whether that was an official relationship or not. And I'm kind of seeing that this person was a little bit in a cave of their own, and it kind of looks that way in this Devil card, that I'm not going to show the full part of it. It's a little explicit, but it's this dark shadow that's cast by this devil, that's bird in this case. I think that whoever this is, whatever this connection was in a little bit of a cave of their own, and I think kind of fighting it off, holding it at bay, but in some ways feeling just barely. And I think that something about this connection, and maybe for both of you, because the Two of Cups is a very balanced card, a very duality card. It brought out this Justice and the Emperor, this sense of who I really am and who I really want to be, that's aligned with the truth. because I'm kind of getting that. I think in a lot of cases, like the cave metaphor that we're talking about, this sort of being in the dark, there's a lot to do here with, I think, avoiding certain truths. And I think in some cases, potentially for you, this may have been what I'm getting is that like other people wanted to put you in that cave to kind of like hide your truth, to hide who you were, and like the kind of light and growth and success that you're capable of. And you know what, like you still grew. You're still who you are, even with that like tiny stream of light coming in. You're like, I can grow something here. And I think like this person, they had their own, I think, like truths that were being subverted, that were being hidden, that were being kind of like kept down under the surface, kept in the dark. And I guess what I'm getting is like that feeling of, like the Seven of Wands of holding that back, holding that at bay, like trying to turn that into a less disadvantageous circumstance. But like almost seeing it as something that they had to just fight against, as something that they had to just keep under control, and almost like they didn't see the option to like let the light in. And I think like with this Ace of Swords here, like that's kind of the realization that they're coming to through this connection with you, is like wanting to specifically be the one who lets the light in. Because the Emperor is, I mean, he's a man of action, and he's also a very authoritative figure in that, he's the one who has the power to take action. And I think like for some reason, this person has decided that they want the truth. And more than that, they want justice. Because like justice is really just action taken that supports, that defends, that aligns with truth. It's like truth in action is justice. And I think that before, this person felt like very bound by their secrets, by their shame, by their whatever it was, and keeping that in the dark. And something about you makes them realize that like there's so much power and so much authority that comes from like acting with truth, acting with alignment. And I really love that. Because I think that like the cave that you're in it's not like one that you necessarily put yourself in, and not necessarily one that you had the capacity to fully get out of on your own, which is I think why you started doing what you're doing with trying to like cultivate the bonds and relationships that you have. And I think it's a little different for this person. It's a little different where like their journey is to step into their power, to realize that like they can confront their secrets, they can confront their shame. And all they really need to do that is like the truth. All they really need to do that is like the courage that they have. This is very interesting. I'd like to know like how this kind of like intersects with like what you're dealing with, and kind of the situation that you've been in, and what might be in store here as far as how this person relates to you, what your situation's going to look like. Because I think you've done an amazing job of handling yourself in a less than ideal situation, but it's less than ideal. I don't think that that's where you want to be forever. So I love that like we got out here in these three cards. We got the Queen and King of Pentacles. Like what did I say? Like there's matching here. There's duality here. There's collaboration here. And we have the Four of Swords in the middle. And I think that this is like building a place, a space, a energy, a home where both of you feel safe to rest, instead of laying down at night and like, kind of wondering like what demons are lurking in the shadows, or feeling somewhat bound by or somewhat trapped within that. There's this definite sense of like this being someone who has very similar goals to you, specifically very similar goals as far as like the physical security and like the home that you want to build together, like that being a place of rest instead of being a place of conflict, instead of being a place of anxiety, because I think that like both of you in different ways have been dealing with this for a very long time. So I'd like to know like what's Spirit's advice for kind of continuing to collaborate, because I think this pretty clearly establishes that like y'all are on the same page. Y'all are on the same team. You're, I think, both working to each of your strengths towards a common goal. So what's Spirit's advice here? 8 of Cups, 5 of Swords, 10 of Swords. So I think that there's like something here about being willing to move away from, like, let go of the past and, I guess any kind of ego that, you've had about, well, they didn't do this right, or I didn't do this right, or, there's a lot of like energy here, I think, of people who are very, very hard on themselves. A little bit of like black and white thinking as far as success, failure. And with this like 8 of Cups here, it's kind of like, I think we're establishing that you guys are, kind of on the same page, that you're working towards the same goal, because it is so easy, especially when, you've been put in less than ideal circumstances, to really hold on to anything that's perceived as failure, as like absolute, as unending. But there's like the Fool on the bottom of the deck. It's very clearly like there's always a chance for growth. There's always this chance for healing if people want to heal, if people want to grow. And this is reading as, multiple people who do, and multiple people who have some less than ideal circumstances that they're still dealing with. But like, I think you would benefit from allowing yourself a little bit of forgiveness for the past and for the way that things didn't work out, and like almost understanding the way they're giving it to me is it's like it wasn't fully within your control. And it wasn't, in some ways, it wasn't supposed to just work out, be easy, be whatever else. There's definitely something here about, I think, breaking down, like, the more, again, like, the words that keep coming to mind are, like, egocentric and, like, black and white thinking kind of parts of yourself, so that you can, like, collaborate more fully, more honestly. Yeah, and I think that there may have been part of you that's like holding back from that with this like 3 of Swords and 4 of Cups, because you've been hurt. You've been hurt, and that's valid, and like you can take the time and like feel the hurt, and I think that you should. And if this person was a part of that, you should acknowledge that with them. And if they have done the work to temper their own ego, then, they should be someone who's supportive and receptive to hearing that, even if it's not the most fun thing to hear. But I think that, like, if you do want to move forward, there does have to be this ability to, like, feel it and then release it. Feel it and then release it, instead of holding yourself in this cycle, like, perpetually. Yeah, like, 4 of Pentacles, it's that, like, holding on. It's that holding on. Because I think that, like, there's definitely a part of you that's resistant, I think, to fully accepting anyone else in. And I think, like, the first step is, like, allowing certain cycles to run their course as far as, like, feeling the feelings and releasing the feelings. And allowing new energy to take its place, because we have like the 10 of Wands and the Ace of Wands. It's like the ending and it's the beginning. So, this may also be someone that you have a little bit of history with. Per usual, I'm never going to recommend reconciliation with anyone who is overtly abusive or is still perpetuating the same patterns that were hurtful in the past. However, if we are just dealing with a situation in which things didn't work out because wrong time, not enough awareness healing, and we're wanting to collaborate in a new way, there does have to be kind of like a completion of these old cycles. Kind of like a saying, we're acknowledging the heartbreak. We're acknowledging the ego. We're acknowledging why it didn't work out and where it didn't work out. And then we're moving forward. And then we're holding space for new energy. New energy. Tell me more about what this collective can expect from this. Judgment. 8 of Swords reversed. Knight of Swords. I love that, because we started out talking about this cave, talking about this feeling of being trapped. And, to me, that is so in line, representative of like the 8 of Swords upright, but we got it reversed. Like, I think this is saying like the overall result of this is really like awakening you to the truth and the actions that you need to take in order to get out of here. And like I said, I think it's like something that maybe you can't necessarily do alone, which is why I think so much of this reading kind of like filtered into talking about these other connections. And it's like the point of this is like Spirit's like, we don't want you to like live in this cave forever. Like, you've done amazing growing what you have, taking advantage of like the light that you were given and creating life with that. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But ultimately, like, we want to completely get you out of there. We want you to awaken to like what it's like to grow your garden in a space that's not underground, that's not in all of these circumstances. And we want to like free you up to actually take action, free your mind up to actually consider all of the possibilities of what you could do with your energy, with your life, with your space, when you don't have that burden on you. Because I think that you really deserve that. I think that it's been a long time coming. And so I do sincerely hope that you are able to release that and able to step into that place of feeling empowered and feeling grounded in that truth and like awakened to that truth. Because I think Spirit's really gotten for you here. It's really supportive of you in this. So I hope that helps, and good luck out there.